Hey guys, good morning. So let's actually just look at the news quickly first. Haven't checked it yet, so refresh. And there's nothing actually too interesting today, so let's get back on the chart. So what we can see is that EURUSD is pretty bullish at the moment. Obviously the overall trend is bullish and we had the retracement, but it looks like it might be finally over. So we had the minor break and we had this demand here, and for the rest of the week I was waiting to see if price would hold at this demand zone or head down to the lower one, since we have liquidity over here. But what it looks like is we are actually forming a demand zone over here where price is holding at the moment. We have another break over here after the reaction to this demand zone. So it actually looks pretty good to give that bullish continuation. The last thing I'm trying to see is we have this supply zone over here. So if this fails and gets liquidated, that's pretty strong confirmation that we are definitely going to be bullish and have that bullish trend continuation. So let's just see on the 15-minute. Had the minor break. We have the liquidation here. So if you wanted, you could look for entries. However, since I see this much stronger demand zone down here, it's interesting for me. But yeah, after the liquidation, wait for the minor break. So the first entry was over here with that minor break. But as you can see, it was at like 5 in the morning for me. So obviously it didn't get into that position. And yeah, it's actually creating equal lows over here. You probably most likely would have been stopped out right there, so I don't have an entry there at the moment. What I'd like to see is a liquidation of another demand zone. So these kind of failed to liquidate. It sort of just created equal lows. So for me, there's nothing clean yet. And then you have the next demand over here. So if any of these get liquidated and then we get the minor break today, so what could happen is if it comes liquidates this, it'll probably tap into here and then you can enter off the minor break over here. But overall, it will just be stronger to see that 4-hour supply fail and then price would come back. So fail, come back into the demand over here, and then this would be much higher probability longs. So that's what I'd like to wait for. And over on GBPUSD, it's the same thing. So yesterday I had this demand zone marked up, which we were expecting to fail, and that's exactly what happened. But obviously below that, you can see there was another demand zone, which price is kind of reacting to. However, it of course got liquidated over there, just wicked below it. And then we could see that price came back in and actually formed 4-hour supply and is currently holding and reacting to that. So overall the trend is bullish, but it seems like this retracement phase is still pretty strong, and price is holding its reaction to here, and then we have another supply over here which we are currently in. So it's currently a supply chain, so we want to see one of these supply zones actually fail if we want to see this demand as holding. Otherwise the supply chain could just push price down into the higher probability demand, which would be a lot better for long continuations, take out the liquidity over here. So yeah, for the time being, I would say it's still pretty decent enough to look for shorts. It makes sense. The only thing that like I personally won't be taking shorts for the reason is that we are below 50%, so that's pretty lower probability since we are against the current trend. So yeah, the overall trend is bullish, so it doesn't make sense to be looking for shorts. But if you wanted to be aggressive, then let's see what we have in here. There was no entries from that first 4-hour supply. I didn't mark it up. And then now we are currently in this one, so what you would want to see is a minor break and then price to come liquidate supply and then have that move down lower. But this price action is pretty messy for me, so it's probably just going to liquidate above this first. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just kind of waiting for more development on EU and GU. Nothing is really clear for me in terms of setups, so I'll keep an eye on it and see what happens.